I'm a little groundhog, furry and brown. I pop my head out of my hole and look around. If I see my shadow, I'll go back down for 6 more weeks of winter underground. I'm a little groundhog, furry and brown. I pop my head out of my hole and look around. If I don't see my shadow, I'll stay here and enjoy an early spring this year. Hey everyone, how is it going? Welcome to today's exciting episode of the Technicolor Mike B Show, and we are celebrating Groundhog Day. Yes, Groundhog Day. That furry little creature, wherever you're from, if the news watched Punxsutawney Phil from Pennsylvania, or one of the other groundhogs from around the country, we rely on it to figure out if we're going to stick around with this winter thing or we're going to get lucky and have an early spring. Yeah, but I've always wondered, isn't this day backwards? Yes, I think it might just be backwards, because if it is bright and sunny outside, he's going to see his shadow. But I usually think of it, if it is bright and sunny outside, it is a spring-like day, and I want to go out and enjoy the day, enjoy the sunshine. And if it is cold and snowy or rainy and cloudy or whatever, yeah, I'm going to go back inside and do something else. Yeah, so around here it was snowing today, and I happen to know, I was watching the Punxsutawney Phil this morning on the news, and it was snowing there, and they still said he saw his shadow, and we are going to stay in winter for 6 more weeks. I'm like, how in the world can he see his shadow? It is snowing up there, it was cloudy, it was not a sunny day with shadows. If he was casting a shadow, I think it was because the news crew had their cameras, bright lights, got in his eyes, and he saw those and thought, oh no, it is the sun. I better go hide. Yeah, so I just think the day is backwards. I think that it should be, if it is a pleasant day, that means spring is early, and he is going to stay out and enjoy it. He's going to go look for some food, have some fun, stretch his legs for a while, and if it's not as nice of a day, he's going to say, yeah, I'll come back in a few more weeks and see what it's like then. Hope for something better. So that's, I think they just got this tradition all backwards. Don't know what they were thinking way back when. Maybe something gets lost in the translation of the day. But I don't know. Something's just odd with it. Not that we should trust a rodent in Pennsylvania to tell people in Georgia what their weather is going to be like. Rely on someone a little closer to home. But yeah, if you've seen the movie Groundhog Day, that is all about repeating the same day over and over again. It's sort of like the current pop culture trend of the Groundhog Day is the day that just keeps on repeating. I know there's been a lot of sci-fi movies based on that premise of you just keep on reliving the day until you get it right, until you get it perfect, you do the right thing, and inevitably, after watching them
repeat the day a dozen times, they go off and have some fun, see what trouble they can get themselves into when they know, hey, this day doesn't really matter, tomorrow I'm just going to repeat this day all over again. So that always gets me thinking, what would I do if I was caught in my own Groundhog Day loop? And I guess you can't be like Bill Murray, that you're just stuck in town with nowhere to go. You have to be able to have some fun. So that means like you wake up, you realize, oh my gosh, I've done this day 3,000 times. I'm just going to get on a drive over to the airport, buy a plane ticket, and fly to Hawaii and enjoy something nice. Maybe I'll figure out what are the winning lottery ticket numbers. Although I don't know, you can't really win the lottery and collect that same day. So maybe you can't win the lottery. That can't be your enjoyment for the day. But you can. Money is no real object because you'll just repeat the day. So you can go buy or rent or lease a very expensive sports car and go racing around town. You can, what else can you do if you have just a repeated loop of a day? And you knew you had 24 hours of your time to just do whatever. So it's like, I guess in the movie he learned, spent the time learning to like play the piano. You had learned something, but it's like you couldn't just start building a house or something because every day you'd have to start over from scratch. But when it comes to a skill, you can practice your basketball, you can practice your golf swing. You have 1,000 days of just practicing. And the great thing about being Groundhog Day is if your muscles are a little sore at the end of the day from all that exertion, the next day, not so much anymore. Like you never did it because you haven't done it. And I guess as long as your brain remembers everything you learned the day before, so that you still have the hand-eye coordination and other skills that you've picked up and mastered, it would be the ideal way to practice. You shouldn't lose 20 pounds or like, I'm going to train to run a marathon, because yeah, that takes real time, not just repeated time. But yeah, what would you do? Every now and again I write down a story idea for a book, and one of the book ideas I wrote down a few years ago was a Groundhog Day type scenario, but it wasn't your 24-hour type, it was your 50-year type. And somehow, like when you're in college, your freshman year, you wind up, you sign up for some experiment at school, and 50 years later you go to your class reunion and somehow you reactivate the experiment and wind back up in your freshman year of college again. And like when you have 50 years to repeat over and over, like I would know, hey, these are the greatest stocks of all time. These are the teams that I remember winning the Super Bowl. These are the things that happened. I could apply for a job at Amazon or Google or Facebook. The day the company opens, I could change my whole career path. I could join Elon Musk's team as and be one of the astronauts in his program. I could prepare myself for any type of a career. I could introduce new technology. So yeah, if I could live 50 years over, go back to when I was 18, 19 years old, and have a reset button and know everything that's going to happen for the next 50 years. who's going to become president, who's going to win the World Series, who's going to do whatever. And like, I have an opportunity to do it all over again, do it better, change maybe that person that you're always afraid to ask out on a date. You'll finally have the courage to strike up that conversation your second or third time around. Yes, it's like I had the book idea was, I didn't know how I would write a story that took that terribly long to tell with 50 years, but the thinking was like, I would pick a technology, pick a company, and be one of the early employees of the company. And back in before it became popular, tell them, hey, you know, this video conferencing is going to become big. We should really pursue that technology, and just sort of like take advantage of what you know, and introduce the technology and see how much further you could advance society in those 50 years. And if you do it over and over again, like the first time, I might not know everything there is to building computers, but the second time I'm like, hey, I'm gonna change my degree and I'm gonna become a computer scientist and learn about all this stuff and take advantage of what I know technology does in the future. Find out how they build those great batteries, how the Tesla vehicles work and things like that. So it's like, introduce it 10 years before it would have really been introduced. And every time, just learn a little bit more about the world and how technology works, and do it that much faster the next time, and the next time, and the next time, and the next time. Yeah, so that was like a cool, like if you have a Groundhog Day experience and you could live a long enough period of time to really make a huge impact on the world around you, learn a lot of stuff, that would be so cool. And of course, in the story, there's always something that has to go wrong. So eventually, aliens would realize, hey, this planet is just not quite keeping up with how things are supposed to go. They're just getting too technically advanced, and they'd come investigate, and we'd have to fend off the aliens. So that was just my crazy what-if story based on a Groundhog Day that just didn't last for the 24 hours or the 12 hours until midnight or whenever things reset, but you have a long enough time to, even like a decade. At the end of the decade, you could go back to the first day of the decade and, you know, everything that is going to happen in the next 10 years, and put yourself into a position to be a power player at one of those companies that are movers and shakers. Yeah, it just seemed like a cool thing to think about. Probably never happened. Yeah, I don't know how to get a wormhole to travel through time and loop back into my past and live those lives again in my own body, not just sort of being there side by side. Now there's two me's. Yeah. So yeah, here is our groundhog balloon for today. Let's see. Yeah, I guess my lights are bright enough. There's a bit of a shadow behind him, so I guess we have 6 more weeks of winter. Yeah, I'll try to get some better lighting for next year so we can have an early spring. So until next time, thanks for watching. See you later, alligator. After a while, crocodile.